Hey guys, Lady Steam here. Now that you've got your Stratagears board built, we thought we'd take a few minutes and show you a little bit about the various versions of the game you can play. This is a pretty small board, but there's still a lot of really fun things you can do with it. Now I know you haven't yet opened up your screws or nuts, so probably now is the time to do that if you haven't already. You want to open those up and put them in one of the containers. You're going to have 3 different colors of screws in the screw bag. Black ones are 1/2 inch long. The silver ones are 5/8. No, the brass ones are 5/8 and the silver one are 3/4. And so now you've got those all someplace that'll be really easy to get to and use. You should also have gotten a rule set. If you want it to fit perfectly under your box, you'll want to cut at the top and the bottom, and then it'll just slide neatly into the slot, or you can just fold it in half, whichever is easier for you. So let's take a little look at how the pieces go together. What you'll notice is that every piece has a number in the middle on it. This biggest one is a 7, and the smallest one is a 1. And on each piece, you'll also see a set of numbers around the outside. This one says 1, 5, or 7. That means this 1 will connect to a 1 or a 5 or a 7. On my 7 gear, you'll notice that it will connect to gears numbered 1, 3, 5, or 7. Now you're welcome to try to get it to connect to other gears. With the gear spacing for our board, they certainly spin smoothest when you're using the numbers that are set here. Some of the other ones will sometimes work if you've got exactly the right backlash in place. So I'm going to take this number 7, just to show you how things go together, put it on the board, and I can spin it nicely and smoothly both directions. Now I'm going to take one of these nylon nuts and put it on the back side. You wouldn't have to put nylon nuts on the back side, but if you don't, when you go tip your board around, then you lose the ability to keep all of your nuts and screws and gears in place, and that's always bad when things fall out. Now notice my 1 will fit nicely next to it, so I can put a 1 in and I can connect it together. And that, it's simplest. That's what this game is really designed around, is being able to put gears together on the board and making them spin smoothly. And we've got several different variations on the game to make it a little fun for you. The first of those variations is described in the manual, and it's called Last Man Standing mode. And what Last Man Standing mode is all about is being the last person to put a working gear on the board. So the first player starts. You can decide how you want that to be, maybe the youngest player, maybe the oldest player, or the one with the most gray hair. And they put a gear on the board with the center hole in that gear on one of the edges. And you'll notice that I've done that here, and I can ever so carefully spin that gear back and forth. If you start with too big a gear, though, you have this problem of a little loopiness. So you want to be careful which gear you actually start with. Then you pick your next gear. So I'm going to pick a number 5 to go next. And I'm going to put that gear on the board. And again, I'm using a single layer gear, so all I need is a 1/2 inch screw. And I can drop that gear onto the board simply like that, put my nut on the back, and make sure I can spin it smoothly both directions. So I'm in great shape if I were playing the game for my second player. You can also optionally, you'll notice that you have multi-layer gears. So sometimes you might say, I really want to put a 2-layer or a 3-layer gear on the board because I want to go up. So to do that, you line up your 2 or your 3-layer gear. If you're using 2, you want the brass screws. If you're using a 3-layer, you want the silver screws. And again, notice how smoothly that spins. It doesn't matter that I have 2 gears stacked together. But as I continue to build the game and continue to play, sometimes the best answer for putting an additional gear on the board is to put one of our little round spacers underneath it and put a gear above it. So let's see if I can find out where this 4 goes when it connects to a 2 And it will go right there. And now you'll notice that I've actually got a free-floating gear up in the air. And as you play in Last Man Standing mode, like I said, the simple goal is whoever can be the last person to put a gear on the board where you've still got a nice, smooth working gear chain that you can spin either direction. And it gets quite silly and it gets quite hard really fast. I think you're really going to enjoy Last Man Standing mode for Stratagears. The other mode that we really like, and we've talked a lot about, is a mode where you put one gear in as your target gear at a corner. So I'm going to pull this apart and give you a quick glance at what that might look like. If you take your target gear, and in this case I think I'm going to use this 5 I've got, and I put it in this here corner, then you can race 2 players from opposite sides to try to get to be able to spin the middle gear. And if you're doing that, then we've given you some blocker walls as well that you can add in to force people to either remove those gears or to those blocker walls or on their turn, or to maybe just wait and go over them. There's all kinds of interesting choices about how you do that. And the document talks a lot about that. So this is a pretty new rule set in terms of games, in terms of number of hours people have played it. So you're going to get the chance to help define the rules for you and your family. The rule set says if a rule doesn't exist, you can do anything. Now that's a little bit much, but you certainly are allowed as a group to make up what your own house rules are going to be. Go ahead and vote on them with the group of people you're playing with. And most importantly, have fun with this game. We think it's hours of fun to be had. I expect there will be new versions of it and new rule sets coming along. Keep an eye on the Facebook page and other places as we get new websites set up around Stratagears. You're going to hear some more things about it. So read the rules, play with your game, have a lot of fun. Feel free to email us if you want clarification on something. We'll be more than happy to tell you how we've been playing the game. Thanks so much.